So, I made a decision. I've decided to return the fight stick. There's a reason. It wasn't an easy reason. Trust me, it was not an easy reason. I sat down. I've been sitting down and working with it for 2 weeks now. Every chance that I had to practice with it, and the more I practiced with it, I got a bit more comfortable with it. But I wasn't. I was. It still felt foreign. It still felt foreign. I was still losing matches. I could count the number of matches that I actually won in those 2 weeks on one hand. It was very frustrating, and it felt like work. I was avoiding Street Fighter because I didn't want to pick up the fight pad because I just was not having fun with it. And that's when I stopped. That's when things need to be sat down and thought out. If I'm not having with the game that I love, then there's a problem. And I was avoiding Blaze Blue because I didn't want to learn the stick with that either. And that game was a lot of fun. So I had a customer bring in their fight pad, the Mad Catz one, and I loved that. Like, I took to that just immediately. Was winning matches, won a couple championships. I was like, all right, hey, this is great, this is fantastic. Watched Free One Up's review again. Like, I had seen it a couple times, but I watched it again and I was like, okay, he prefers a stick, but the pad is still good. It's still a great pad, and that's kind of what that kind of pushed me a bit. And then I was a bit more realistic. I was like, I live in Central Maine. There's no big tournaments up here. Biggest metropolitan area is down in Boston. I live in Bangor. The Amtrak doesn't reach up here. The bus, if I want to pay $30, I can take the bus down to the Amtrak. If I want to pay maybe 45, I can make it down to Boston. That's just one way. I don't have a car currently. That's scrapped. And then things are just going to get busier when I'm teaching in the fall. So it's like, what? I want to get really good. I still want to get really good. I want to practice, get great with El Fuerte, pick up everything, learn the Daipon loop, get that down. But as far as the stick just isn't for me. Everyone says you need the stick to get really good, and I'm not going to disagree with them. I used the stick. The stick was great. It was, but the pad works for me. It just does. The stick just does not work for me. I'm not compatible with the stick. I grew up with a D-pad. I did not grow up at the arcades. When I played arcade games, they were TMNT, or they were X-Men, or they were Altered Beast. They were never fighting games. All the fighting games I played at home, like Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2, or Street Fighter Turbo, those were all played on D-pads. That's what I'm comfortable with. And then I used the fight pad. That was fantastic. It felt great. And I started having fun again. And that's what it comes down to, is having fun. That and taking pictures of rage quitters. That is also fun. They don't like losing to Forte. They don't like losing to Fei Long for some weird reason. Apparently, you lose to Fei Long, there's something wrong. I don't know. The other thing I actually do want to quickly touch upon is I feel Ryu, Ken, Sagat, and Akuma, but more or less Ryu, Ken, and Sagat, good players for that. They have a bit rough. You see a lot of Ryu, Kens, and Sagats online. You see a lot of them when you play online. And you play a lot of flowcharts. You play a lot of spammers, a lot of fireballers. Ryus who will hurricane across, to get safety, who do the same, easy combo that you just need to, sure you can roll into. Just spam roll right into it, and I feel when a good Ryu comes around, a lot of people right now are too jaded from the flowcharts and from getting easily comboed from people who don't know what they're doing, that when a good player comes along, they don't get the respect that they really should deserve. And it's only until they meet someone of just high caliber and they play them, it's seen. But for a lot of us who maybe are, the majority of us who are fairly average players, it it tends to go kind of unseen, and we might rage at them, or we just won't show them, the respect you would anyone else who is, who's obviously a better player than you, like just was a better player, not beat you. There's a difference between being beaten and being beaten by a better player, or just playing a better player. And I feel they get a bad shake. And the reason this came about was I was playing today, actually, just using the Xbox D-pad, because I didn't have either the stick or the fight pad yet. And I played a couple matches, and I was winning a number of matches, and which felt great again. And I played a couple Kens, and the Kens were just, they were flowchart. Played a couple Ryus, they were flowchart. Then I played another Ryu, which, I beat him first round. He beat me second round. Third round, I was just getting angry. Just like, oh, I'm not gonna beat this guy. I'm not gonna, lose this guy. Why? I'm just starting to rage. And then I saw what he was doing. I actually took time to actually watch, and he was a good Ryu. But I was so jaded by other Ryus that most of those matches, the first 2 rounds, I saw him like comboing. I was like, oh, he's another Ryu. He's another Ryu. Just another Ryu. And you don't see when they're actually good, because you just get so just angry and jaded by the bad ones. And I think if you're a good Ryu, Ken, and Sagat, you still deserve props. If you're good Ryu or Sagat, you deserve props. Or Ryu or Ken, you deserve props. Sagat, you still deserve props. Given the learning curve for Sagat, in my opinion, is kind of shallow. It, when you get to really high levels, it gets more difficult. But to learn the basics of Sagat is, I avoid him. I don't wanna. But that's getting to my own opinion. I'm very jaded by Sagats, if you can't tell. So when a good one comes around, I rage at them too. So, but I think that should, you should be a bit more, not so much just, you shouldn't rage as much if you lose to them, actually think about it. Were they a good player? Did they actually do more than, jump behind, heavy kick, Shoryuken, jump behind, heavy kick, punch, 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 Shoryuken? Or did they actually know what they were doing and take the time to, dismantle you? Because if they did, give them a GG. I completely dismantled a Zangief, given Zangief is probably my best matchup with Fuerte. And I almost double perfect against this guy. He wasn't a bad Zangief. I was actually just, picking the right combos. I splashed the right times, I tortilled the right times. And I just jumped away at the right time to avoid the Ultra. And he immediately messaged me back. I'm thinking, oh god. And I opened it up, and he was like, oh, that was a great match. I love playing good Fuerte. I love playing good characters. I played this main, but I don't think he's really good enough to go against all the Ryus. And I was actually floored. I don't see many people actually GG and actually talk and make discussion. Usually you wail on someone, and if they don't rage quit, they rage at you later. So that in itself actually put everything kind of in perspective for that. So try and be a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Bit more choosy with who you send your rage messages to. Actually, think if they're a good player, don't rage at them. They've deserved a good player status. But if they're not a good player, oh, rage them, burn them alive. Oh, I'm already at 9 minutes just ranting. Yep. All right. This is Goggle Candy, and I'll see you later.